Hello. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about the awesomeness that was this great Stretch Heal Grow experience that we went through. It was Shauna, like how much fun that was.
No, it was. So everybody knows Stretch Heal Grow.
Stretch Heal Grow, yeah.
Okay, so it's a wellness and yoga retreat for women who are living with breast cancer.
Yeah. Run by Rethink, like
That's right.
Run by Rethink Breast Cancer.
And so there's one that happens in Ontario, one that happens in BC, and it brings 30 women together, and you stretch and you heal and you grow.
You do grow, yeah. It was awesome, and you did really fun things. Like we did this thing at the end where we made these. It's called this. What was it? A web. Everybody with the strings, and everybody they put it around like the whole circle, and they put it around the neck, and everybody cuts, and you have a piece of string on your, and we both have our strings. Here. It looks
so
more
we're
like
connected.
We're connected by this kind of used piece of string. It's been through the ringer. This string. My son has used it as a device, you know. It's
every time I wash my hands, I have something wet on my wrists afterwards.
Something very wet and slimy, but it says, "Hey, we're one," which is really great. No, that was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever been on. I mean, we got there to be with a bunch of people, a bunch of women that are going through. Everybody's story was different, but everybody's story was the same. I mean, when we went around the circle, it was like you really heard what everybody was saying, and it wasn't cheesy. Like, you know, sometimes you go to these retreats and you're just like, we're gonna hug, or we're gonna pretend you're like some sort of animal, like what feral animal? You know, it wasn't weird. It was like very.
But what animal would you have been?
I want to say a turtle.
Okay.
I like the idea of having your home on your back.
That's
like
true.
You know what I mean? I like that kind of like micro home idea.
Okay, so you're like a traveler.
Like and not too fast. I don't like all that pressure.
No.
So
no,
you know
no.
what about you?
I feel like I'm also, someone who doesn't like the pressure of moving fast. Maybe I'm like a sloth. I like to sleep.
A sloth. Okay.
Yeah. Nice and
so
cuddly.
we're really sexy animals. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like a Match.com profile writes itself. Yeah. No.
I'm a sloth looking
for someone equally as slow, but not as but ambitious too. Yeah. But no, yeah, totally. But like that feeling, it wasn't like put on. Nothing about it was put on.
No.
And it was like from the second you get there, they gave us these like little packages on our bed. You just felt special. And for 3 days to feel special, like it was great. And I felt so present. Like I didn't even carry my phone with me. I have it in my room the whole time. I didn't even take any pictures. I have there's no evidence I was there except I was there. But I didn't take any pictures.
Did you go to Stretch Heal Grow?
I did. Yeah. Yeah, but there were enough people who were taking tons of photographs. But I just couldn't, because I knew if I saw it, I would be checking updates for my son, or like your email or something. Is this something? Thinking about this, just the internet is a really great way to lose some time and stuff like that. And it was,
I feel like I agree. I feel like it's so rare that you get the chance to really unplug.
Oh yeah.
And then also all these women are living these really busy lives where they are dependent on by so many people, even though they've been through this breast cancer situation.
Yeah.
And so to really take time to really focus on healing after going through something so horrific, and like really having that permission to do so, and a space to do so, and everybody doing it together, I felt like was a really amazing experience and really healing.
It really was, and the food was good. The food was good too. Yeah,
On top of it all, you got fed well.
We got fed really well. But I also think it was really cool what you said, because there were so many people there. Like there was like a doctor, there were teachers, there were nurses, like there were all these people. There were homemakers. Like everybody was there. Like it really represents the fact that all these people, and there were like 3 other women there that were diagnosed with breast cancer when they were breastfeeding. Like it was like we had like the same stories but different stories, and it was it reminded me, especially after when I first got home, I like didn't even want to go to sleep that night. I was like, because I didn't want it to be over. Like I just didn't want, you know what I mean? Also, my son is very loud, and he was screaming. He's like, "Mama!" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got that."
Yeah,
but yeah, you are. And my husband was all too excited to kind of go to the gym. But you know what I mean? Like you just want to make it last, because it was like such a fun And like, you remember my favorite parts were like at night when we were just like sitting there laughing. You know what I mean? Just hanging out when not any like activity, just like sharing stories. We had these mala beads that, you know, 108 beads, and like you're supposed to make them with intention or something, right? Like, like a I don't know, like each one represents, like as you're making, you were thinking about the things that you want, like the dreams and all that kind of stuff. Like it was really great. I mean, I was really just thinking about making sure I had enough beads, but I mean, it wasn't, you know, I feel
like we had opposite approaches.
Yeah,
She
was really
go with the flow.
Somebody is very competitive when it comes to bead making and everything. Okay, so she's like, she's got like a little. So I'm sitting here trying to make sure that like the bead goes on the thing, and she's over here. I've got to design this. She's got this architectural situation here.
I needed my mala necklace to make it into the MoMA.
I know. You did.
It was Oscar ready.
It was. And so it will be in swag bags coming near you. Come award season. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, back on a serious note though, like how you were talking about, like at night, we were just, you know, able to laugh a lot. And I think that was something that was really happy for me, was like, because I've, you know, since stopped drinking after my diagnosis, and just like, how can I get back to like a normal life and like connecting with people in a way that isn't just like cancer anxiety always at the back of my mind.
Totally.
So I feel like that night, especially when we were on the floor with laughter basically every night.
Yeah.
I feel like that was really awesome to just have kind of like fun and let loose with other women.
Totally, and be silly. Like we were just totally silly. Like I know I didn't even want to drink, and I was like exhausted. Like even though we woke up so early. Like we woke up at like 6 or something.
It was really early.
But I wasn't even like, and I go to bed and I had such a great sleep because we would just like we'd just sleep and then we'd wake up and we'd go. I always wanted to do it. Like I always had enough energy to do whatever it was we were gonna do. Like I never felt like it was anything I didn't want to do. So like. Because I knew we were all going to be doing it together, and it was fun, and yeah, that laughter was like, I did not expect to laugh as much as we did. We laughed a lot.
It should have been called Stretch Your Laugh.
Should have been. Yeah, it is.
Another thing I thought that you brought up that was, I agree, and I think really important to point out, was the stories. And just like how many people were sharing their story and then feeling heard because they heard another person's story that was similar to theirs. I just feel like the story, like it just really drove home the point that like sharing your story is important. Yeah. Someone needs to hear your story, and it's going to make them feel better and make them feel heard. And yeah, everybody has an important story to tell, so don't shy away from that.
Absolutely. And you know, because I've been like thinking about that lately, because like, you know, you start to do like doing this little vlog with you guys and everything like that, and you start thinking what you're saying isn't like, does it matter? You know what I mean? And then you hear somebody else's story, and just like that one piece of their story resonates with your story, and you're just like, wow, that's awesome. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of just whatever your story is, it's a good story. Like whatever it is, wherever you're coming from, I can't wait to hear it, kind of thing. And that was what it was. Like every single solitary woman there had an amazing story. Yeah. And they were saying and speaking about it so truthfully that, I mean, we cried. I mean, you cried, and she doesn't cry. And she cried. She cried, everybody.
No,
it happened.
I don't
happened.
Remember this.
Yeah, she was crying. It was great. But it was like, because we were all so full of so much great emotion. And it was, it was real. It was. Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest concern going there was that I wasn't going to be able to relax, and I relaxed so much that I was almost like a sloth, or like a worm. Like I mean, remember we did those yoga? We held the pillows. I mean, I fell asleep. I never fall asleep when we do stuff like that. Like, but I was so just like, there's no other place we needed to be. It's just such a treat that you get to do that, and I feel like any retreat out there that you can connect with other women that are. And the thing about breast cancer is when it happens in people that are younger, that aren't like in their 60s or whatever, and you expect it, is that it just gives you a detour. It's like everybody there was like, I'm having babies and everything's great. I'm finishing med school, or you know what I mean. I'm doing my residency, and then bam, I get cancer. It's like everybody kind of had that similar narrative, which made you feel like, yeah, so it's a bummer for all of us, but yeah. And they were all thriving. Everyone was thriving that was there. Like they were all just inspirational. Every single person was just someone that you were just like, wow, that was amazing, you know?
Yeah. I think as a young woman, it's just or young person going through a cancer experience, it's really just like you were saying, like suddenly all of your friends are doing, their everyday things, whether it be like advancing in their career or they're, going to the club or like just like their concerns are no longer your concerns and your concerns are just something like for better or for worse they can't relate to. And so just having these women who you're like, oh yeah, when I take my exemestane, it really makes my, wrists hurt. And we're like, yeah. Or, like it just like people get it.
And like everyone was like, oh, we were all like having these hot flashes. Everybody was having like a hot flash. All of a sudden,
like
we
a
would
hot
be there.
party.
Yeah. It was just so normal. It was nice to be where that was the new normal. Where it's like talking about pills, talking about hormone therapy for like 3 days. That was what everybody understood.
Yeah, like a fan would come out and everybody would be like, I know what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. And it would just be like some people like had their little mini fans. Like, oh, it's a great idea. It was just. Yeah, it was talking about like their appetites or sleeping. Everyone was like, well, we don't really sleep as, great. We're going to be up. So, and that's why it was so nice that I could like sleep, that it felt really good and stuff. And then, it was really fun and we had a really good time. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so I feel like my big takeaway from the retreat is just, being really grateful to know people like you and have friends like you.
Glad to have a friend like you. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. And so that's why, having a community, having people, like being able to connect through Rethink, that's really been something that I will hold true to my heart and I'm really grateful and lucky to have. So.
Yeah, me too. And it was really, really, really fun. It just makes you want to go do more good things for people, and go away and get lots of awesome yoga retreat too. That was really fun.
Yeah,
really fun.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.